Peace, family. Are you guys tired of using skincare products that leave your skin far too dry? Make sure you get all your skincare needs from soulfulscrubdetox.com. Make sure your melanin is always popping. That's soulfulscrubdetox.com. Hey everybody, I just wanted to let you guys in on one of the best kept secrets in black apparel. melaninruntheworld.com. They have all kinds of t-shirts that are available and affordable. Make sure you guys get all your t-shirt needs from melaninruntheworld.com.
Hey, what's going on, us tribe? This is your girl Dre with my co-host.
Renee, how is everybody?
What's going on? What a week, man. Like, I don't know. This week was kind of like weird for me. Like, I had to take a lot of naps this week. And I'm
No,
usually not napping.
like I don't know what it was, man. It's just I don't know. First we hear Nipsey gone and we all mourning and I just don't know where to go from here.
Me neither, but we're gonna get it in tonight because this topic, a lot of people don't want to touch this topic, but us, being social scientists, we have to go there because we're not afraid. We're unapologetic about things that we say and we bring the knowledge. So what's today's topic on?
Today we're going to be talking about racism in the gay community.
Lord have mercy. See, y'all didn't think that racism happened in the LGBTQIA. Oh wow, I'm surprised I got that right because that's they
What's
added a lot of
the
letters.
I? What's the I?
Child, I think it's like intersectionality or something like that. I don't know.
What they driving? What they doing? The intersection? What they doing?
Oh yeah, it's I'm about to. Well, we about to. I'll give you the I in a minute. Okay, I got it. So is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, and asexual or allied. Whoa.
You know they added an H in there too, like recently, and I think that's for the HIV plus people.
Really?
Yeah.
Child. And they said that the letter's gonna keep growing. So
I
yeah.
mean, why else they going? Why can't they just be queer? Because that's gonna cover all of that.
That's what I'm saying. I think it should just be queer because like you said, it's gonna cover all of it. Also too, we don't have to like do the side eye or the eyebrow raise like, do I call you a lesbian? Do I call you bisexual? Do I call you gay? Why can't you just be queer, be in questioning, and then we just leave it alone? Just my thoughts as well. So
I mean, I don't care what you're doing, as long as you're doing it with somebody black and y'all know y'all black. But
I know, and we're gonna get into that because I think a lot of times, when people feel that they are, we're gonna say queer, for the sake of the conversation, they feel if they date someone outside their race, so we're going with the whole IR relationships, they feel like, well, I'm running away from blackness, I'm not gonna have any racism in my relationship. No, that's absolutely incorrect because I was reading an article over 50% of black LGBTQIA queer, they experience racism within their own community. And that's why we're gonna have a conversation tonight because I think a lot of times they feel like, well, I am part of this community and I'm not gonna feel racism. No, there's a lot of racism because you guys have separate pride parades, everything, child. So let's
that's
just go ahead.
true. The black gay people and white gay people celebrate Pride Month very differently.
Yes.
All right, but let's kick it off. Let's get to chopping this up. So the first thing we want to talk about is just basically the racism in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer questioning community. Let's start with health there.
Yeah, I mean, like that, they deal with a lot of discrimination, especially when it comes to health. And especially when it comes to like health insurance. Since they added the whole same-sex marriages, like a lot of times, like they're looking at your health insurance, like, should we even give you quality of care? So that's still showing you're still black, right?
Yeah,
Also, too,
but I
there's
think to
go
cover
ahead.
that cover the white members of the community as well, though. But there's a wealth gap within black gay community and white gay community. White homosexuals have, I think I read a report that said 45% more earning power than black gays.
Mm.
So that just goes into the wealth gap that there's there.
Yeah, so you have the wealth gap. You have even with, where do they live at? A lot of times they live in a community with the rest of, Black Americans, and we know that we deal with redlining. We deal with all the failure in our community. They're going to the same hospitals as we are, and they're going to be pretty much waiting, the same length of time. So I think a lot of times, I don't know if they know the data when it comes to queer and questioning, and they just feel like, well, I'm queer and I get better health care and better, um, care, period, versus
Until you
someone who's
catch an
heterosexual.
STD. Because if you catch an STD in
Mm,
the gay community, a lot of the times your insurance isn't going to help you much.
right. Exactly. Exactly. And then you have to request, even getting all those testings. And a lot of times when you get STD, STI testing, that's even more on your insurance. That's more out your pocket. And that's more of a stigma, right? Because they're going to be like, oh, see, we told you, look at all the Black folks. They all have AIDS. And that's more of the CDC, which we're going to talk about, right? Because where CDC's at. The CDC is going to be looking like, see, all Black people have, some type of disease. Oh, stay away from them and let's, push them off to the side of no man's land and they can do whatever. So definitely.
Exactly. And let's talk about gay youth. They're more at risk for, drug use and STDs because the drug scene in the gay community is very high. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that disparaging anybody, but there is a lot of hardcore drug use and psychedelic use in the gay community to enhance sexual experiences. And a lot of the times they spend all their money buying these drugs that they can't afford to get clean needles, so to speak. And they're
Mm.
sharing needles, and so that goes into again AIDS and HIV and all that type of stuff.
Right, exactly. And I also, when it talks about substance abuse, and a lot of times people are like, oh my God, substance abuse. A lot of times, let's face it, when you're a part of the queer community, especially if you're Black American, Native Black, you got these hardcore religious parents. They probably kicked you out when you came out. And what you're gonna turn to some type of addiction. Not saying all, because they're trying to cope. They're trying to find a way to say, you know what, who's gonna accept, me for who I'm truly am. And not only you're coping with that, you're also coping with racism. You're also coping with, oh my God, you got this stigma of this is who I am, and public and behind closed doors, or I'm still in the closet. So I think a lot of times, when it comes to this drug use among gay, Black, queer, that's what they're doing. They're trying to figure out how to deal with the trauma on top of the other trauma that we already deal with as a collective, the ongoing trauma generationally. So definitely.
And then let's talk about the high number of STD rates that go into the use of the queer community, the Black queer community. Um, Black children, for the most part, aren't really taught about how to have sex or how to have a healthy sexual relationship if they're heterosexual. So if they're homosexual, they're really not getting any kind of talk, and they're becoming more at risk for sexually transmitted diseases.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And a lot of times too, like you said, they're not educated on, far as with having sex. Also too, they also have this thing, I don't know if you saw it, is so you won't feel like, okay, I'm actually gay or lesbian. They have this topic, men who have sex with men, and that's saying like, do you have sex with men and do you also have sex with women? So they're really trying to split this whole thing on, you know what, you can tell us you have sex with men. We're not going to really quote unquote label you as gay. And that's going to that whole like, well, maybe I'm not gay because I'm having sex with both. So that's going back to the whole being on the DL. But the rates are going high. And then let's think about it. A lot of people are not getting tested. A lot of people are not getting tested, even though you have free sites, but it's going back to stigma. It's going back to being uneducated as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they think because they look healthy and they feel strong that there's nothing going on. When
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with getting tested. I encourage everybody to get tested, even if you're in a committed relationship or marriage or whatever. Just make sure that you're taking care of your sexual health, because if you don't and something comes up, you know that it's been outside and there's no denying it.
Right. Agree. Totally agree. So everyone out there, make sure you get tested. There's so many places you can go get tested. You know, of course, they gotta follow HIPAA, so no one's not calling in like, well, I saw such and such up there. Can you tell me, what they have? And make sure you're being honest when you are in these relationships. And another thing about, I think the reason why HIV and STDs or STIs are high in the queer community, they have a high rate of like exchanging partners. Like they have partners like all the time. A lot of them are it's just like any relationship. If some people don't feel comfortable with being in a, monogamous relationship, and they're just like swapping partners and saying, hey, I could swap partners, and, I can have unprotected sex, but you have to protect yourself. And, just don't, it's the same thing I would tell anyone, like, protect yourself. And also, too, if you want to be in a monogamous relationship, have the conversation. Don't be like, well, I'm with you and I'm with like 10 other people. Nah, that's my little spill. All right.
And let's see, where do we want to go from here?
Man, because it's such a broad, like,
No, it's such a broad topic, but let's talk about the gay white supremacist males that use dating apps to spread white supremacy.
oh my God.
That whole no black, no Asian, no fat, no femme. Is there another one they say? No trans?
No trans, right. Oh my God. Yeah. You just like took my breath away on that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But see, the thing is, like white gay males, it's like they have something in them that just makes them only want other white gay males that look a certain way. They want them to be in shape, not overly buff, not overly hairy or anything like that. And they will harass like black people in the gay community. Say, me and my partner think dark skin is gross. I found so many articles when I was researching for the show this week that said, black people who were active in the white gay scene were saying a bunch of stuff like, all they say to me is, you have shit skin, or we don't think black people are attractive and stuff like that. And so where's the inclusiveness in that?
Right. And honestly, there's no inclusiveness when it comes to, you know, like you were mentioning about, white men who are gay. They have this whole like it's just no difference than, when a white man dates like a white woman, just like have like this pretty much image of what they want, and they pretty much devalue um you know men of color who are gay. And then, like you said, they discriminate against them. Even a lot of times too, they may be like, yeah, I like you, and then they'll date them and they'll abuse them in so many holistic ways, mentally, verbally,
Like,
physically. And a lot of times, they're just like, oh yeah, they're on this site, like, oh yeah, you cute, but a lot of times they trying to lure them and to really harm them.
exactly
So
like
you
that
have to protect
Milo,
yourself on that.
like that Milo guy, Milo. I do not know how to say his last name. It's something Greek. It starts
Oh
with a Y.
yeah.
And he has a black husband. And what I'm really trying to figure out is, how did this black man get involved with this man?
Right. And he's so trash.
It's like this man is pro pedophilia, which is like really disgusting. And I don't understand that, because so many gay people that I know try to fight the stigma of gay people being pedophiles.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm like, well, how are you sitting up here with this man? And I'm sure he's just using you as some kind of, I can't be racist, look at my husband. And it's like, why would you allow that? Like, why would you allow that for yourself?
Right. But it's going back to being a tool. He's allowing that and saying, well, this is gonna give me a status symbol if I'm with this, horrific trash ass gay white dude who's, in the media all the time. And maybe the black man has an agenda. And maybe he's like, well, I'm gonna feel safe because I'm with him, and I'm gonna be protected. No, like I'm pretty sure he's getting abusing that relationship.
Yeah,
No doubt. No
and
doubt.
let's just say like white gay men have a power complex because they can't flex as hard as they want to in certain situations as say a straight white man. So what a lot of them do is that they'll get with these black men and they engage in what Neely Fuller calls gutter sex, where they're having this humiliating kind of sexual relationship with this black person so they can feel some kind of power.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, you see that all the time. Like, look at your boy, Lee Daniels. He's in
That
a relationship with a white man. And
really?
oh yeah, he has a white husband. And what's old boy's name? Don Lemon. His husband's white.
Uh, I could see that for Don Lemon though. I mean,
Yeah, and Lee Daniels, he absolutely hate being black. He hate black women. He made quotes on, look at all the black women pretty much at the welfare office. They all have AIDS, this, that, and the other. So he, pretty much tears down black people, black women especially.
yeah.
And, just to say, oh, but I'm not like them because, I'm black, I'm gay, I'm with my white partner, and he wears these ridiculous, I don't know if you ever saw him wear these like ridiculous blonde wigs. He looks.
I have not seen that. What? Oh
I
my
have
god.
to show you. I'm gonna have to like post the picture.
I am Googling that right now.
He just looked utterly ridiculous when he wear these blonde wigs, and
It's more
he's
than
just
one.
ridiculous. It's like kind of like the same one, and it's kind of like this. Just find it. Find the picture.
I'm looking at it right now. This is ridiculous.
Yep, exactly. And then I'm looking at this article I have pulled up when we was talking about discrimination and just even racism in relationships. And they said that this one black dude asked this black man, do you want to make a white man your slave?
What?
Yes. So that's going back to what you said, the gutter sex, them pretty much tying them up. So what's the difference between they want to go back to slavery? They want to enslave you. They want to like harm you. They want to like do all these horrendous things to you. Just like back on the plantation when you had white slave owners, the women and the men pretty much raping, buck breaking, black slaves, and that was for men and for women. So that let's go back all the way to history and look at where we are today.
See, that's another thing that black people don't want to recognize that the white woman has been more vicious towards black society than the man ever was.
Right.
But that's a show for another topic. But let's see. Throughout slavery, that was like a thing that was really going on was pedophilia of young black boys.
Hmm.
They had gay slave owners who exclusively slept with young black boys. They would buy them specifically for sexual purposes. And that's something that I can see like kind of playing out today when you see these gay white guys and they have this black man with them and he kind of looks like their pet to an extent, you know, because
They do.
he never really says much of anything, but he nods and smiles, you know.
Right. And like you said, it's pretty much like his pet. He, takes him all around the world. And, he pretty much like, oh, look at, I have this buck. Look at him. And he's my pet. And he's just mute, pretty much.
Let's
He,
unpack the term buck though, okay? Like this is what
yes.
they talking about. Like white people, we already know that the white supremacist is nasty. He sleeps with anything. He's animals, trees, cats, dogs, whatever. He'll sleep with it, but he's calling you a buck, a hooved animal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. An
Like
animal.
And so in his mind, he's not having sex with a person, he's having sex with an animal.
Right. So pretty much you're being dehumanized, and they already look at us not being humans, and it's like, okay, you're a buck. You're my buck. You're my slave, as this dude has said. Do you want me to be your slave? Do you want me to be your slave master? And pretty much just dehumanizing the whole quote unquote, you're supposed to have this romantic relationship with one another, just pretty much shaming you, but he wants to have sex with you or she wants to have sex with you. Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's like they disassociate themselves from it because they can get out of that bed from rolling around with you, and this goes for both the gay black interracials and the heterosexual interracials. They can get out of that bed and go practice white supremacy. It happened all the time during slavery.
Right. I mean, and it's happening now.
Yeah.
It's happening now, and I think a lot of times too is going back to what I said earlier. How can you feel safe and be in a secure and sacred relationship knowing that your partner, who is a gay white man or a lesbian white woman, is out here, trying to eradicate and just, wipe your whole race off the face of this earth? And I mean, we can go into the whole conversation with, do you put your race first or your sexuality first? Oh my God, I've seen so many folks had a conversation on Facebook about this whole toxic masculinity. There's one black gay dude that I know. We went to the same undergrad together. I mean, he went in, and I mean, he was like, I'm a black man first, but secondly, I'm a gay, black man. I said, okay. He's like, I put my race first. You don't hear a lot of them put their race first.
That's
A lot
true.
of them are like, I am, your first, you only hear race. I am a, trans man, and then you're like, okay, I can't see that. I can see blackness coming through my door first.
Yeah.
I can't see you being a trans or a gay, because you can hide that. You can put that to the side because you can really disguise who you are as far as sexually. But when it comes to your race, when it comes to ethnicity, you can't like, oh, let me change my colors. You're not a chameleon. And he was like really
True.
authentic about his experience about being a black man. And he's like, he got discriminated so much by being a black man. And then even when he dropped, being a gay man, it was even more like all hell broke loose. So do you guys put race first or sexuality first?
And it's to me, it's foolish to put your sexuality first because society, like you said, society is always going to see your race first, and you can't escape being black by putting gay in front of it.
Right. Like so many try to do though.
And I don't understand that. It's baffling to me because it's just nonsensical because nobody's going to see somebody gay walking down the street or whatever like that. I see 100 people walking down the street. 99 of them can be gay. I don't know. I'm not trying to have a conversation with them or find out anything about their lives, but I can see they're black people or white people or Asian people.
Right, exactly. And another thing I want to have this discussion on too is on this topic. I remember being in grad school and I thought I was going to like get expelled from grad school. One of my white lesbian professors, she has
What's
said, I
that?
understand. Oh my God, we're gonna talk about that. And I
Okay.
remember she had the audacity to say in class, and it wasn't even a diversity class. I think it was like a human behavior class. She's like, I understand what it feels like to be black. And myself and my homegirl looked at each other. So I challenged her, like, what do you mean by that? Because you're a white woman. Because I am a lesbian, and this was at the time. Let me see. This is 2007, 2008. You know, they're still trying to vote on the same-sex marriage. She had her partner for 20 years. Blah 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 blah. Because I had to fight for my civil rights. And I remember her. I remember just looking at her, and I remember going in on her, and I said, "You can hide your sexuality. I cannot hide the fact being a black woman. And not only am I being a black woman, I'm a black woman who, is getting a master's degree at this very white institution in the South. And I deal with so much racism, holistic racism. How can you say that you're being discriminated against? You are a white woman, mind you. She had a PhD. She
Hmm.
was a priest in the Episcopalian church, And she's talking about because I can't get married right now.
What that got?
What that gotta do with anything? So we we was going back and forth, and she was like, "Well, Andrea, I think you're being homophobic." How? Because I challenged you. Because I challenge you on how can you compare your experience of being a white lesbian woman who have wealth, who's in this position you're teaching and you got all this other stuff going on because you can't get married versus my at the time I'm in my 20s, being discriminated against already by being at this white institution, being challenged by you white people every day because I know my stuff, and all the years of dealing with racism. I'm talking about from being called a nigga all the way up to you blocking me from my livelihood, or me wanting to live where I want to live at, my pay scale, redlining, coming from slaves. And she couldn't give me an answer. So you can't ever compare your relationship, your experience of you being a homosexual versus me being a black woman. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in that and we kind of like, well, their rights are being taken away. I feel like they have more rights than we do as ADOS people. They do. They do. Like more laws and legislations are more geared towards LGBTQ, but not really for black folks because that's a fine line, right? We're dealing with a fine line. But it was just a very interesting battle I had with her from the time I entered to those doors to the time I graduated. She was very interested. She just couldn't let go that she's equal and she has inequality just like me. Ma'am, you can hide your sexuality. I can't hide my race.
That's very true. That is very true. And not something else I wanted to talk about was gay white people using black people as like mascots.
Mm.
Because something that really was on my heart heavy when I was researching for the show was that Devonte Hart situation.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with that?
You talking about the young black boy with the two that the parent the two gay moms?
Yes.
Oh, that was so sad. They killed all those adoptive children, right?
Yeah, they did. It's some of the kids' bodies haven't even been found.
Oh my
But
God.
you had these two white supremacist lesbian women adopting all these black children from a system where they were just pretty much taken away from their blood family because the mom smoked crack and they should have been taken away, but they were given to the aunt, and the aunt let the mom see the kids, so they just snatched the kids from the aunt and placed them with these two demonic white supremacist lesbians. And these kids were sitting up here being starved and beaten,
Mhm.
and they were asking neighbors for food, and neighbors were calling CPS on them and everything. And when they were really about to get caught and busted, they just drove a car off a cliff.
Right. Exactly. That was so sad. And then didn't he take a picture they took a picture like hugging he was hugging one of the police officers.
And yeah, that was Devonte Hart. And when I initially saw that picture, like most of other black people in America, I saw that and I was disgusted because I was like, they're turning this little boy into a coon. But then I realized later on, after the situation had happened, I had compassion for him because I understood that that was a cry for help.
Definitely.
And
Right.
I see a lot of these gay people, they're adopting these kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. Y'all want to have a family, have a family. I don't care, but adopt them for the right reasons. Don't
Right.
sit here and adopt them and try to make them slaves, or excuse me, try to run your own plantation.
Exactly. Or have your own agenda. And going back to what you were saying with adopting, you see a lot of that because black children are less expensive to adopt than any other children. Like, let's get that out the way. So we'll do a episode on, looking at adoption and foster care as an option even for us as Native blacks. Also too, have you seen what's that? It's an actress from South Africa. She adopted a black African. I forgot what country.
I know you're talking
She's
about
turning
Charlize
him
Theron.
into a girl.
Yeah, Charlize Theron. And
Yes.
if you find early pictures of that whole situation, you'll see that the little boy was resisting at first.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to wear dresses and ballet shoes and stuff like that, but now he's just been turned out.
Oh yeah, he's been turned out. I think some of the black children Madonna um adopted, they're turned out.
I
Some of
always
the
see pictures of Madonna and her adopted black children, and the adopted black children are in this subservient position, like massaging her feet and her shoulders and stuff.
right, because also too a lot of excuse me, the white LGBTQI, they are also turning these black children into slaves and servants.
That's true.
And, like you said, you see them, serving, massaging her feet, massaging her hair. They're turning them into servants. And the neighbors, of course, they probably have black adopted children as well. Turn a blind eye. They have communities in which folks are adopting these children from, let's say, Haiti, these countries that have been raped and pillaged all over again. The children's, families pretty much have been killed off, murdered, whatever the case is, and they're just like, oh, this is like, oh, I can go pick me a child. Oh, come on, little child. You don't have any parents, and turn them into slaves and servants. So that's why we have to look into adopting our own children, and like you said, have a purpose. What is your purpose of adopting? These black children. And if you're turning them to slaves, I need them to. I need, DHR, CPS to come and take the children away and put them into a healthy environment. So yeah, that's my piece on that one.
Exactly. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's see. Where
I
to
had,
next
I had
on
to
this?
take a sip on that one.
Let's see. Where to next on this one?
um,
How about how the gay media only writes about black people when they've done something homophobic?
I'm sick of that. I'm sick of this agenda of the media writing or pulling out tweets or a status or any type of blog or whatever post, someone has said and said, look, they said homophobic, things towards the LGBTQ community. And people don't realize it's an agenda. People don't realize just because someone says, "Hey, I want to see black men in suits." What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. Because a lot of times this it's an agenda, which we're going to talk about, is being imposed on us. Is being imposed on our young black youth. And because someone has said, and I think they was nitpicking Nipsey Hussle saying he wants to see, young black men in suits or have them in suits, and they're like, oh, he's homophobic. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, really?
I don't think that statement was made as any type of homophobic vibes to it. I think it's the fact that in our community, we don't see a masculine black man out there, doing for the community. We're used to seeing like a homosexual black man being able to move easier in white spaces than a straight black man.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I think that what he meant by that was that, he can walk into a business meeting a man and walk out a man.
Right. Without being, emasculated.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and it's a fine line if you notice too, going back to the media, this whole toxic masculinity versus this is what masculinity is supposed to be about. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is the definite, what do masculine look like as far as what black men, right?
Mhm.
Is it we seeing them in dresses? Because look at the agenda. If you want to get on top, and I hate to say it, you see it all the time. Starting with you see, didn't they put LeBron in a dress? Kevin
Yeah.
Hart. Didn't you see their careers pop like overnight? And it's like so a straight black man can't just be him in a suit, then like Nipsey said, come out and still be a black man in a suit. What's wrong with that? Why did it have to like go against the grain? Like, well, let me put this dress on because I need the bag. Okay, you want me? Okay, yeah, I need the bag. I'll put the dress on, and you start seeing like this whole like crippling of masculinity. But then on the other hand, I see a lot of straight black women like, oh, he's toxic masculinity because he plays football and he wears a suit and, just some random stuff. It's like, well, what kind of man do you want him to be?
I think that all these women who sit up here and call a man toxic masculine if they're black, um, I think those are just angry shea butter feminists.
Right, and who already want to like emasculate men and make them homosexuals in my eyes.
Yeah, I can see that. And even if he's not homosexual, he's emotionally damn near a woman.
Right. Exactly. So it's just like that whole toxic masculinity, like we have to check that because it's like, okay, what do you want him to be? Do you
Because
want him to be a gay man so you can go shopping with him? No shade. Like that's what you want, then go get you a gay friend. But don't try to turn all these men and saying you're toxic because, wear pants and like you show emotion, you have balance. Let's just say you have a balance in your life and you're not overly emotional or, you rather watch Lifetime than play football or watch NFL. I don't get it.
I think that if you take away a masculine black man and you downgrade him to the point where he's no longer toxic masculine, who's going to protect us as black women?
Right.
You can't sit up here and take the warrior class out and then still think you're going to be protected. And another thing that a lot of those shea butter feminists like to scream is patriarchy, which that's not a problem that black women have with black men anyway, because ain't no black man in the world gonna tell a black woman she can't go to work.
Thank you.
I don't
Thank
care
you.
where you from. Ain't no black man gonna tell a black woman she can't go to work.
No, and then also too with the whole patriarchy, we black men don't have power. They're the most incarcerated around the world. So in order for you to be screaming this, oh yeah, the patriarchal, he has to have power, he has to have wealth, he has to be damn near dominating, the women in his group. How can that be if majority of our men they're incarcerated and they don't have any wealth and they're in the bottom just like we are? So that's a good point that you made in
And
regards to that.
why is it that toxic masculinity, cishet, I think that's the word that they're using for it, why is it only applied towards black men? Why aren't white men labeled the same?
That's a good point because I haven't seen any white men labeled the same, like none at all.
Like, you're not gonna see somebody call him, what's that white man name all them women love?
I was trying to say who.
I'm trying to, it's one that they all love. Brad Pitt, him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
If it's not Brad Pitt, I'm sorry, y'all feeling whoever whatever white man suits your fancy. But but why isn't Brad Pitt labeled toxic masculine? I mean he left his wife on a movie set,
Facts,
you know?
exactly. Or even all the white, I'll say, athletes. Let's start with your boy, well, maybe I could say my boy, whatever, Tom Brady.
Yeah,
He
that's
straight
your
got
boy.
a whole, he got
That's
a
your boy. I
whole,
never, ever, ever in my life love Tom Brady because of the tuck rule. I was like 11 or 12 years old when that happened, and I was sitting in the heart of East Oakland watching that game, and it was like, what?
right. So, I mean, like him, he have a whole baby mother and a whole wife. the way that if you guys ever watched like that, he had like a little mini documentary, like he was straight. Now that should have been toxic masculinity because he's like, I love football more than my family. Like what? Like okay, dude. And he was just watching the film, and like his wife was like, I'm just gonna let him do whatever. So how come that's not toxic masculinity? But
Well,
like you said, it's yeah, he's like, I love football more than my family. I'm like, okay, weirdo. Uh-huh.
but that's see, a white boy grows into a white man. A black boy grows into a male species.
Right.
We are permanently men, black men and women, children under the system of white supremacy. That's why we can get easily distracted with stuff.
We can. We'll get easily distracted. For instance, and going back to, I know we said we was gonna talk about this, Michael Sam. Remember when he came out, that man's career got shut down. So if that's not, so let's think about NFL as a whole, as a macro level. Um, that man got shut down, didn't even get a chance to play a down. Once he got drafted and he's like, yes, I'm coming out, and he grabbed that skinny 2 pound white boy, Abercrombie and Fish looking white boy, I mean, they was and kissed him. They was like, yeah, no, we're not having that. If the, See what I'm saying? And his career got shut all the way down.
That's pretty much what happened too, but it's like um they they don't want to cheer for a black man eat with a white woman or with a white man.
No, not at all. Then on top of it, you're sprinkling in homosexuality. They
I
definitely not
think
having that.
I think that Michael Sam, he carried himself as a professional man. And I think that they just thought he was going to be a huge distraction for everyone
Mhm.
around because it was clearly going to be a circus that went wherever he went because wasn't he supposed to be having like his own like reality show or something?
He had his own reality show, which was on the Oprah Network.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I mean, I remember watching a few episodes, and it was tough to watch. It was very difficult to watch because they was showing him, when he got drafted, his life, all the way up to, him trying to find someone to listen to him being accepted. So once again, here goes the racism in the queer community, right? Him
Mhm.
trying to be accepted in this community, and they're like, should we accept this big burly football player, hyper masculine? In their eyes, that's what they're looking at. He's dating this Abercrombie and Fitch frail white boy. He had a struggle with that, even with his partner was kind of struggling with, oh, should we be together? It was just a very interesting dynamic because I'm like, okay, are you with this dude because you felt like, okay, he's going pro, he's gonna make our lives comfortable, or are you truly with like this struggle of him coming out to the world, him pretty much sacrificing, because that was a sacrifice, him
Yeah.
sacrificing his whole career, who he is as a black man first and foremost. Um, are you with that? And I think from the looks of it, like the dude was like, I don't know. I thought we was gonna make all these millions of dollars, and I'm gonna get my Abercrombie and Fitch modeling contract.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting reality show that if you guys have Fire Stick, like check it out. I forgot the name of it, but it was interesting.
I might have to check that out cuz like I just remember that like he got drafted as the last pick in the draft. I want to say by the Rams when they were
Mhm.
still in St. Louis. And then he got waived and the Cowboys picked him up and then you never heard from him ever again.
Right. So that's going back to they wasn't inclusive. And then let's look on the flip side in NBA, the guy that played for I think Brooklyn, that's Jason, oh, I can't think of his last name. You know what I'm talking about? He
Yeah,
came out
I know.
and he ended up getting like this all these awards, but I think that was towards the end of his career, and I think he was like an assistant coach for one of the NBA teams, but they didn't show who his part. See what I'm saying? They didn't show his partner, that was unclear. Like, okay, who's this dude's partner? Okay, like he got him tucked away. But yeah, it's cool. You can get these awards because that's very, fearless of you to come out as an NBA player. So you see that. So you see the contrast. And I think also too, they look at NBA as kind of like, oh, you guys are kind of fluffy because you're just going up and down the court, you're shooting the ball, you're playing defense. NFL, you're supposed to be like this hypersexual, hyper masculine man. You're supposed to be hitting. You're supposed to be jumping, doing all these things. So it's a interesting when you really break down the layers. It's interesting how one sport kind of like accepted that, and like the other sports like nah, we ain't having that. And I think too, it also came down to who old boy's partner was as well. So it's racism, and it's also too sexism and all type of things around that. So
Let's talk about the WNBA and the NBA. Now, the
yes.
WNBA, there are a lot of lesbian players in the WNBA, and again, that's not disparaging at all. If you can ball, you can ball. It's whatever. But I think that people expect them to be lesbians, so when they come out, it's not a big deal.
Right. And that was more exactly because when we had the conversation early in the week, I think when it comes to women's sports, they're like, oh, yeah, they can be lesbians, they can be queer because they're with each other and, all this other stuff. And they're like, yes, go come out. Because I think of one of my favorite ball players. Like she's dope. She's married to her partner, Simone Augustus, played for Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah.
And I think she was like one of the first to like get married to her significant other. And I remember my homegirl was like, oh, like 80% of them or higher, are lesbians. And I just like looked at her like, what? But also too, on the flip side, think about that as you being a heterosexual woman, you're getting bullied. So many WNBA players retired early or just left the profession, period, or probably play overseas because they got bullied into the alternative lifestyle. And to the point, like, you see so many articles on, man, I had to leave because, like, they was probably damn near getting raped in a locker room or, trying to get turned out. And that's not fair for someone who, like you said, has the skills and they're trying to make a living and they're getting bullied because they have a different lifestyle outlook on life and the league is encouraging it.
Yeah, that's like a big thing. You see a lot of people, like you said, they're retiring early or they just, go overseas.
Right.
'Cause, I like I said, I think that they're expected to be gay, so when they come out, it's not a big deal, and they're not getting paid the amount of money and getting the amount of exposure that, say, a man would get in the NBA. So I mean, it's kind of like they just kind of let them run rec shop.
Definitely. And the thing, one player who pissed me off, well, two players who pissed me off the most in the WNBA, I have to go there because I felt like I felt like this particular player, Cheryl Swoops, it was at this pivotal point in her life. She made me so mad. Cause like one minute she had this whole family with this dude, named her son Jordan. She's supposed to be Lady Jordan of the NBA. Then
Yep.
all of a sudden she like must have bumped her head, had an epiphany, like, you know what? I like chicks too. I'm gonna go ahead and have an affair. She had an affair with her coach, like her assistant coach.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, okay, did she end up whatever happened with that? Did she end up coaching women's basketball? Did she fall in love with this dude in Chicago? And then I think she's still trying to figure out, okay, should I still if she was still messing with the woman coach from Houston Rockets. I'm like, hold on. Are you doing this as a fad? Are you doing this to like get some type of award? Like some type what are we doing here? And so you have that. You have that blurred line like, am I queer? Am I bisexual? But nah, I got a whole family and I don't understand that neither. You got a whole family with kids, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm a lesbian or I'm gay. That's not fair for anyone. That's
Yeah.
my opinion. Don't come bring the smoke to me. That's just the opinion that I have. You guys can have your own opinion. I'm not discouraging you from having your own opinion. I just feel like that's not fair for either parties because it's like be who you truly are, be authentic in your walk. If you're a lesbian, cool. If you gay, cool. But don't like bring other people into it, like children. You marrying this person, you like being a switch hitter, and then everyone's getting hurt. So that's why I say that's what made me mad about her and your other girl too,
Which
Brittany
one?
Griner. Now I know she's
Woo!
androgynous. When she married that chick, Glory Johnson, she's the same way. She done went and got these twins by some ex-boyfriend, right? Now
I
you in the
thought they
WNBA.
got. I thought they got artificially
No,
inseminated.
no, no. That was ALIE.
Mm,
It was by the ex-boyfriend.
okay. Learn something new every day.
And she wants this chick to play child support. You done had a whole marriage with her. Now you back to the ex-boyfriend, some other dude, and I think she's with some white redneck type of guy now. And I'm
Oh, so
like, yo,
you know she ghetto gagging on his cock.
exactly. And I'm like, yo, you really just, I'm like, and I felt like Brittany Griner's game haven't been the same since then, but that's just another opinion, sports opinion. But you have those situations in which be who you truly are. Like, don't bring other people into the mix and saying, yes, because the WNBA, they're advocating for this. I'm down with it. And then once you're in it, you're like, yo, this is not what I was expecting. And then you go and get old redneck Henry from West Virginia somewhere. Like I don't get that, and that really just you just like being hella fake to me when you do that. Just be who you are. Like if you want to be a lesbian, be like the rest of them. Go marry your partner, stay married to them, but don't involve all these other people in it. And then you're like, I don't know who I am. I'm confused. Nah, you know what you want to do. You just trying to be whatever.
She went out and got her a zaddy.
Yes, she got her a redneck zaddy. I guess she said Brittany Griner just didn't do it for her.
I don't know what Brittany Griner is. For a while, I thought she was a hermaphrodite, but then it's like, nah, she ain't. All right then. What?
No, you're right. They said she was an androgynous person. That's what Nike labeled her as because she's down with Nike, and they said she's our first androgynous model. Which I'm like, whoa, why they put this title on her like that? But that's another episode.
Man, I've seen like her Instagram and she be outside with her shirt off. I'm like, girl.
What? Oh Lord. Oh
Yeah, she
my
be
God.
sitting outside with her shirt off taking pictures. I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
Ciao. But yeah, that's the WNBA for you. And like you said, in the NBA, they're not expecting that. So, like you said, because they're not getting much exposure to WNBA, the NBA, they're like, listen, bruh, we ain't having that. You can say you can come out after your career is done.
Yeah, or you can do like your boy who did and get another 2 seasons out of it.
True. Interesting. Whew. Wow. Okay.
Like, this ain't disparaging at all. This is just outside looking in commentary.
Yeah, it's commentary, and like we understand people gonna get upset by anything we say on any type of episode, but don't get upset. Process what we're saying. Not saying, oh, our word, take what our word is and run with it. Like do research. Like really, don't be a reactionary person. Like really listen and be like, oh, okay, maybe they got a point, maybe they don't. It's from our perspectives. We're not saying oh, this is the law. People have all type of lifestyles. You may not agree with my lifestyle, my choices, but I have to be accepting of it because I have to live in my skin. But don't try to, fake the funk and try to, be swinging any kind of way because this is the new flavor of the month. Because it's a real agenda that's out here, and people are like, yo, why are young black youth the most are getting turned out and becoming lesbians and gays? Because I'm seeing a
I've
lot.
seen this book. It was written by this black woman. She's a quote unquote biracial black woman married to a black man, and their son wears dresses, and she wrote a book for him called The Princess Boy.
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to what?
Yeah, and on the cover of the book, he got on a tutu and a tiara, waving a wand. I'm like, you couldn't get him a tractor set or something, or a Hot Wheels?
I guess she's saying she's gonna accept him for whatever he's gonna do.
And
That's
don't get me wrong,
interesting.
I understand. Up until like the age of what, 5, 6, they're all the same. They don't know. They're just out there playing. But when he's doing that at 9, 10, and 11, come on. And why is the princess boy not getting the same exposure as the little white drag kid? Isn't that what they call him?
Oh yeah. Right. Now he's everywhere.
And they are monetizing this, and I don't think that's right because they got that little what? He's 9 years old and he's dancing in the gay club, and they're throwing money at him.
Yeah, he's getting money thrown at him. He's dancing in the gay club. I mean, he's pretty much a brand. He's like a multi-million-dollar brand, but it's all about they don't care. They're gonna chase the bag, and if it's like that's the agenda, he's gonna get the money. Just like with any type of white gay man or trans, they're gonna get the money. When it comes to us, we gotta be out here being gutter snipes and lowering our standards and just accepting any old thing.
Yeah.
Man. And then another thing too, did you see also too who's getting the money is the white trans. They're going into public schools and they're reading to the children.
Are you serious?
Go look it up. Drag queens reading to elementary school students. They're going in and teaching them about, what drag queens are, what's trans, what's queer. I mean, they're starting at kindergarten age, and this has been viral. It's been going viral for, oh my God, for at least a year now. And people are like, oh my God, yes, this is cool. If you also seen, it was a big viral video. The guy was in Kansas City, Kansas, somewhere out there, and his 2-year-old son, grandson, they put him in a dress. Black boy, they put him in a dress at his preschool at this Christian academy, and he went out there and raised all type of hell because they told the teacher before, like, do not put my black grandson in a dress. And then she's like, well, you can't come up here and raise your voice at me. And what's the difference? He doesn't care. He's 2. He's not gonna remember. But you're setting the tone. You're
Yeah.
setting some type of like memory in their mind, like, oh, why am I the only one in the dress? And mind you, he was the only one in the dress. So there's an agenda that's being carried out when it comes to, especially, excuse me, our black boys. That's starting very early, and as parents, as just community members, like if they don't have your consent, and if your child is the only one that's being labeled and put in a dress or whatever the case is, you need to have a conversation to pull that child out that school because there's an agenda that they want to make sure that your son or your daughter are being stripped away so they can be like, oh, see, look, we always knew what do black folks say? We always knew they was funny.
Yeah. And see, another thing is I want to talk about before we get off of here is that black people as a whole really don't have any problem with gay people. It's not like they're always putting it out. Oh, my family put me out when I was 11 or whatever. It's like, no, black people will usually they will let their homosexual children stay at home until it's time for them to go.
Right.
They might not invite your partner over, but you can always go home.
Exactly. And I don't understand. I mean, you probably have some cases in which, yeah, they put them out, but like you said, mainly, black folks, native black folks are accepted. Now, if we're gonna talk about Caribbean and African folks, you might as well that they're the ones that's probably kicking their kids out because they're like, no, we do not accept this. Period. Now, in some situations, if they Americanize, yes, probably, but I have a homegirl that's not the case for her. Like her mom is like, no, you cannot bring your partner here. Period. Like not even to meet me. And every time she goes home, she has to get a hotel room.
Oh wow.
So it's oh yeah, it's interesting when it comes to other culture groups because they're like, no. When we talked about reggae music, you hear Kill Bati Boy, Burn Bati Boy,
Yeah.
that means we're gonna kill all homosexuals. And me spending time in Jamaica, when I studied there, they are like you better not be holding another woman's hand down the street, even if that's your homegirl. Because they're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we're going to be burning you in the street. So, you have to, if you are, so this is the flip side. If you are, part of the queer community, be careful when you travel.
Yeah.
Know, like, the land, know the laws of the land. You don't think, oh, it's not Provincetown in Massachusetts, and which is like, I don't know if you guys know what Provincetown is. That's like this whole gay community on the Cape in Massachusetts. Like, yeah, they accept that. Like, oh, okay, because they have Black Queer Weekend. Every year they're like, yay, if you're Black and you're queer with your partner, come here. You can't do that in Jamaica. So know when you go in and know the law of the land. You can't do the same thing you're doing here in the States that you're gonna do in Jamaica or any or African country.
And I think that especially in the West Indies, I believe that the attitude towards homosexuality stems from slavery because of all the buck breaking and
Mhm.
the rape and the as they put in the slave narratives, they describe the women raping the mistress raping the female slave as imitating sex on them. I think
Mm.
that's where that comes from because that was shameful and it was
Right.
humiliating, so they don't want to be associated with that. But that's a whole nother topic. And I know I said this, but one more thing before we get out of here. Let's talk about Ed Buck.
Yes, let's talk about him because I know he was on our agenda to talk about.
Ed Buck, for those who don't know, he's a wealthy white man. Don't nobody know where he got this money from or how he keeps this money, but he donates millions of dollars to the Democratic Party.
Mhm.
And over the past 18 months that we know about, there's been two black men found dead in his apartment, and he's still a free man.
Exactly. I mean, died from quote unquote overdose. And I think what he doing is luring them with drugs. He's luring them to his house with drugs, doping them up, raping them, doing all type of disgusting acts. And this man have not seen any type of court time, jail time, period.
No, he hasn't. There's interviews with people who said they've had encounters with him, and he says like as soon as you get over to his house, you have to put on his clothes that he has for you, and they're like these real slavish looking kind of clothes, like tattered rags, and he'll call you his little nigger boy, and he takes these really humiliating pictures of these black men with their private parts hanging out, and
Mm.
and he gives them all kinds of drug cocktails. Like he'll mix some stuff up and he injects it in people. And we know there's been two black people found dead at his house. It could be more. I'm
Mhm.
willing to bet that there's a lot more, but it's just two that he's known for in the media, and nobody's talking about this. And it's like, why not? Why isn't that toxic masculinity?
Right. And that's right. Going back to toxic masculinity and also to they're Black gay men. Who cares? Who cares? Right? Who
Yeah.
cares? It's like, when you see all these Black femmes and these Black trans getting murdered, it's like, oh, who cares? It's another Black person died. I mean, that got brutally murdered. Oh, well, we're going to go have a cocktail now. Like, it's like, who cares? And this man have not been prosecuted, nothing like that. I mean, I would think they even brought him in for questioning.
No,
So, mhm.
his lawyer made a statement on his behalf, but it was really kind of weird and half-assed.
So be careful with stuff like that too. Like if you decide you want your partner to be white, you gotta be careful of that because what I always say, they're studying you. Your partner's studying you right now, and they know what your weakness is. They know you want to submit to them. You want to be in this relationship real bad, and you're like, I'm gonna do whatever because I don't want to see another, any type of like queer community like end up dead at Buck's house again or someone else's house, God forbid, and they have the money to cover it up or
Yeah.
not even go to jail. So, man, any last words, thoughts, questions?
See, just always be mindful of your surroundings as a black queer person and as a black person in general. Always keep your head on a swivel because you don't know who's going to be coming up behind you.
I have to co-sign with that. Yeah, be careful of even your association. You know, if you find yourself in a situation you're getting abused, because that's something we forgot to cover, but you know we'll do that another time. Um, a lot of the queer community find themselves in abusive relationships. And it takes 7 times. I don't care if you're in a homosexual relationship or a heterosexual relationship, 7 times for you to get out of an abusive relationship. So when you find yourself in any type of abuse, financial abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, um, it's time for you to get shoot the deuces. And I mean, like, if you gotta pack your stuff overnight, your important documents, and slowly but surely put them in your car, do so, because we don't want to see anyone being abused, and then the next thing is a homicide or a suicide, or you know, even both. So you know, just protect yourself, and you know, protect the people that you love, and you know, that's all I have to say on that note.
Exactly. And if you have children, protect them,
Yes.
especially protect them.
Please do. Please do. But once again, this was a dope, unapologetic conversation. Thank you all for listening. Do not forget to like us on Facebook, The Urban Social Scientists. Don't forget to check us out on SoundCloud, The Urban Social Scientists, on Google Play, on Spotify. Don't forget to like, to share, subscribe to all the channels. If you guys have any topics for ideas, please share them with us in our Facebook. We're open, right? I think we're pretty
Yes.
open. um, you know, y'all want to bring the smoke, we can have a conversation about that.
All right, there's no
But
problem with it.
no problem with it. So much love and light to the Us Tribe. We are Audi 5000.
All right, later days.
Peace.